Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. So, thank you, Daniel, for having me. But my name is Michelle Welch, and I am a time management and productivity coach. Now, my coach, Bruce Hill, New Skills, New You, he taught me that one new skill will change your life. Now, who's ready to get some life-saving gems right now for productivity? Yes, let's get into it. So productivity is something that is very much overlooked in all of our businesses. Now, just really quickly, a show of hands, who utilizes productivity in their business daily? And now I'm not talking about, tools and things. I'm talking about very basic things like a schedule, a task list, doing a brain dump prior to your day, just getting things kind of organized so that you have some type of structure and strategy to get through your day. So a phrase that we hear a lot of entrepreneurs talking about is success loves speed, and which it does. However, success also loves systems, strategies, and functionality. So when you get into time management, it's a lot more than just managing your time and putting things on a schedule. It's what you're actually doing with your day, habits, routines. What does that look like? So for me, I wake up at 5 a.m. I'm a single mom of two. So I have to wake up, I get myself ready. I get myself ready for the gym. Then I get the boys ready. We have breakfast. We have a routine together. Now, another thing that we practice is mindfulness, because when you're productive, you're producing. When you're booked and busy, you're in chaos. So one quick gem I want you guys to take away. Who likes to use the phrase booked and busy? You guys hear that quite a bit? Oh, I'm booked and busy. I got all the clients. Yeah, no, we're not doing that anymore. I don't ever want to hear any of you say that phrase again. Why? Because there's a lot of power in the tongue, right? Busy is chaotic. Busy is unstructured, unstable, and busy gets us in a lot of places that we don't need to be in. Missing money, missing opportunities. Why? Because we're so busy that we fumble the bag by not putting something on our schedule, not utilizing the time and space that we currently have, or burning ourselves out. How many people sometimes feel the stress of business? And you guys are real estate agents. You guys are doing life-changing things. People are giving and spending the most amount of money they'll probably spend at one time with you. So you have to be very conscious of the amount of time and effort that you're putting in. So for my real estate agents or professionals in here, I'm gonna give you guys a couple things that you guys will be able to do to start bettering your time and getting things better for better habits and better routines. So first things first, we wanna start off with a daily routine. What does that look like for you? A daily routine is gonna consist of when you wake up in the morning, what time is that? When you wake up, what is the first thing that you're doing? A lot of us don't even know if we can walk yet, and we're checking our social media. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're tweeting. You don't even know if your legs work. So we gotta stop that. We have to get very intentional about where our focus is, because where your focus goes is where your money grows. Can I get an amen? Amen. Exactly. So number two, it's not just having habits and routines, they have to be healthy. So how many of us like to go to the gym in the morning? I do. I go to my personal trainer every day at 8 a.m. And there's plenty of ways that I can get myself out of it. Oh, my gym bag is not packed. Oh, I don't have pre-workout. Oh, I don't have this. Okay, no more excuses, okay? Pack the bag the night before. Make sure you're at Costco to get your pre-workout as soon as it runs out, or set it up on Amazon to get it automated to send to you every 90 days. There are different things that we can structure in our life that is just gonna make it a whole lot easier. We are the ones holding ourselves back. So, next things next. When you are a real estate agent, time is definitely money. So one thing that I've noticed, and my parents, they bought a house a couple years ago, is we were like going house to house, and I felt like it was just such a tedious, long process. How many people are familiar with Google Maps? You guys are pretty familiar, right? It's a free tool that we can utilize. So let's say, for example, you're a real estate agent and you want to start showing properties for your people or whatever the case may be. Go ahead and utilize Google Maps. What you can do is you can get all the doors that you're gonna take your clients to, put them in Google Maps, and it's gonna give you the best mapped out route to be more effective for your time. Now, if you do something like this for yourself as well as for your clients, number one, you're not allowing them to waste your time. How many times do we have clients that just wanna see a house because they think it looks good, they think it feels good, but essentially it probably may not fit in their budget, or it just may not be a good route to take. You can then put 5 or 6 different houses into Google, get those addresses, and now you can create a schedule for your client for you to stay on. So there's number one. Number two, how many of us get stuck in meetings all day? And I'm not just talking like 15, 20-minute meetings. I'm talking about like an hour meeting, an hour and 30 minutes. Now, the thing about it is the capacity for us to hold on to thoughts and all of these focuses ends at about an hour. So if you're trying to have an impactful conversation with your potential buyer, with your broker, with your agents, it is going to be essential that you create an agenda, create something to follow by. And if you want them to be engaged after that hour mark, you can, it's as good as done. It's just not going to happen. So what we do is we prepare ourselves for structure. When you have a meeting, you send out that agenda the night before. You get everything listed out. These are the topics that we need to cover. And what it does is it allows you to have structure, but it shows your client this is what the expectation is. A lot of times we fall short in our business because we give an unprecedented expectation or we don't give one at all. So guess what that means? People are just out here free willy-nilly, taking our time, throwing it away as if it's something that isn't valuable to us. So one thing that I hear a lot of people say is, I don't have enough time, Michelle. And I'm like, well, what are you doing with your time? And guess what I hear? Crickets. They don't know. So when you don't know, you don't grow. So one thing that I teach my clients is you need to monitor your time. And how do you do that? Every day, you just take heed. What did you do at 9 o'clock? What did you do at 10 o'clock? How are we supposed to better ourselves and better our position if there's nothing to go off of? And what I mean by that is the same way with social media. We have analytics. When you manage your time and manage your schedule, those are the analytics of your life. So you can sit down and say, this week, this worked for me. Monday, I did X, Y, and Z. Tuesday, I did this. Wednesday, I did this. I was able to bring 15 more leads in because rather than sitting on social media and scrolling all day, I gave myself an intentional hour to send those 25 DMs, to reach out to those people. Now, some of us have a very unhealthy relationship with social media. It's okay, you can admit it. Like, I was there at one point too, it's totally fine. But the thing that I did was I started utilizing my phone to help me figure out where was my attention going, where was my time going. So first things first is when getting on social media for realtors, that's where, real estate in general, that's where you guys find your leads. That's where you guys make your connections. That's where you reach out to people. But it's also a lot of consumption of just tons of different things. So your mind can start drawing blanks. You start to go down rabbit holes. The reason why we're here is we're not even here anymore because now you're on, Barefoot Contessa's food page trying to figure out how to make bruschetta, and you should be over here talking to your leads. So it's like, how are we going to take the focus and make it what it needs to be? Setting the intention. How many of us set our intention every day? And now it may sound like very cliche, but these are things that essentially work to help us work better. So number one, we need healthy habits and healthy routines. I'm not just saying getting up, throwing spaghetti at the wall, seeing what sticks. Get your dinners ready for the week. Get yourself together as far as this week, I want to bring on 100 clients. How am I going to bring on 100 clients? Okay, well, I need to go on social media for about 2 hours. I need to send about 25 DMs. I need to post about 6 times. I need to do about 15 cold calls. Break it down for yourself so that you have something to gauge off of. Once again, you can't have analytics. You can't have results if you don't have analytics. You can't have results if you don't have anything to compare it to. So start documenting your process. Everything that you do as a real estate professional should be documented because at some point in time, you're gonna have to rinse and repeat. One biggest issue with productivity is that we keep continuously trying to reinvent the wheel that's already been created. There are already tools set in place for you to have structure and foundation. Using your daily schedule, making habits and routines. Who's here familiar with a brain dump? Who's ever heard of that word or that phrase, right? Okay, so only 3 people, so I'm gonna explain it real quick. So a brain dump is when you take about 10 to 15 minutes of time, you turn off all devices, put it on airplane mode, whatever the case may be. You sit down, you get all your thoughts on paper. Everything that you need to do, wanna do, have to do, whatever the case may be. Then you figure out what are the priorities. Delegation is one of the biggest things of productivity. Delegation saves businesses. You need to figure out what are you gonna do and what you're not gonna do. I always have a to-do list and a to-don't list. That to-don't list goes straight to my admin. I don't even care what's on it. Don't try to make me do it because I'm not going to. And as entrepreneurs, business owners, when we get more disciplined on the things that we're not gonna do, it allows us to see where we're more capable to show up in other areas of our business. If you're not gaining consistent revenue, and you have no type of analytics to see why, productivity is going to point those things out for you. And I stress productivity so much because as being a single mother, I also have a nonprofit. I also own a residential and commercial cleaning business, and I have for 5 years. I just turned 30. And I've made over $500,000 in the cleaning industry. And now with productivity, I offer group coaching, I offer one-on-one coaching, a lot of different things, and on a corporate level as well, working with the HR department to see why the employees are not performing properly. Where is the disconnect coming from that people want more money, but productivity levels of profits are not coming in? We're not hitting revenue margins. It's the same thing for every industry. There is something missing, and without having any kind of structure, you're never going to be able to find that. And so what productivity once again does is it highlights the areas that we need improvement, but it also comes a lot with self and discipline. You can't just expect for the skill to come. It's the same thing like going to the gym. If you want to have abs, what do you have to do? You got to work it out, right? It's the same thing with productivity. You have to work it out. You have to see what is going to be most beneficial for you and how you're going to pull your business forward. Now, the thing with real estate is that it's very heavy. You guys are constantly on your phones. You're constantly talking to people. You're constantly in motion. So what I want you to constantly think about is how you're going to set yourself up to where real estate is not consuming you. Yes, I understand the hustle culture is there, but hustle culture also leads to burnout culture. Burnout also leads to people thinking that they're depressed and they have anxiety, when honestly, you just need a break and probably a hug and a drink and some sun and just to chill out a little bit. So I want you to understand that the amount of hours that you put in does not equate to the results that you're going to get back. You can work 18 hours a day, but you really only need to work about 4 or 5 to get the same results. After about 6 hours, your brain shuts down. I don't care what anybody says. I know what I'm talking about. Your brain shuts down. And I don't care how much you think you can multitask, you can't. Your brain shuts down. And as much as we want to believe that we can be up all night doing this, doing that, you're actually doing a disservice to yourself and your business. How many of you can operate for that long at full capacity and still take care of all the things you take care of? Someone introduced themselves to me and they said they had 40 doors. And I'm like, that just seems like it's a lot of responsibility. And I'm almost sure that real estate is a lot of responsibility. So it's not good when you drop the ball. It's not good when you have clients that want your time and energy and you can't give it because you don't even know where you're supposed to be right now. Some of you wouldn't even know you were supposed to be here if it didn't come up on your calendar on Facebook. That's a problem. That's a real big problem. So imagine how much money you're leaving on the table because you don't have systems in place. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. You know, you can get a great CRM, Hivemind, and you know, I'm just saying. But we put obstacles in place because we don't want to just slow down for a second and see where we can optimize different strategies and techniques to make things better. So with a show of hands, how many of you guys actually operate out of systems daily? Like different types of systems that actually help you be more productive? Perfect. So I'm a systems girl. I love Trello. I love Asana. I use Dubsado, and everything is automated. Automation has allowed me to not necessarily be so hands-on in my business, but to be here on a Thursday at 1:30 speaking to you guys about productivity. I know what my time looks like. I know what my schedule looks like. I know what my priorities in business are. So a lot of it has to do with alignment. Even in real estate, you have to make sure that the people you work with, the clients you work with, everything is aligned with the ultimate goal of what your business is. And now, Michelle, how does productivity work with alignment and all these other things? Because if you're not in alignment and you're not doing what you need to do, you're not going to be motivated to get things done in a sense that's going to be most beneficial for your business. You're over here trying to get all these doors and do this and do that, but you're missing all these other steps. You're missing reaching out to this person. You're missing creating those connections. You're missing coming to events where you can meet amazing people and build relationships. So one thing I want you guys to take from this is that productivity is a skill that will save your life, in a sense of it'll get you to a place where you're not feeling burnt out. That is one of the biggest issues that I come across with my clients. Michelle, I'm too tired. Michelle, I don't have time. Michelle this, Michelle that. And I'm like, Marsha, I've been told you what to do and you don't want to listen, so I'm going to explain it one more time. Get your schedule together. That's how you get your life together, is creating a schedule. Very, very simple. You guys, who has an iPhone or Android or whatever, you guys all have cell phones, right? At the palm of your hand, you can control your entire life. And now I know you can, because a lot of us, we walk around with our phones in our hand. We don't put it down. I mean, look at everybody has their phone in their hand right now. So imagine if you had your phone in your hand and you opened up your schedule and it just had all those beautiful color-coded, just euphoric productivity scheduled times. Like, I know at 3:30 I have to get on a call with this person. I know at 4 o'clock I got to call the boys and make sure that they had a great day at school. I know at 5 o'clock I have to get on this call and be in this mastermind. I don't care what it is. I know at 5:30 if I don't eat and drink, I can't be famished and focused. It's like, it's just so many things that we bring to ourselves. Productivity brings better health. It brings better quality of life. How many people in here are in a relationship or married or have kids, right? How many of you wish that you could just have more time with those people that you love? You can, if you create a schedule and add those people to your schedule. Stop scheduling your inconveniences. I don't care about jury duty. I don't care about none of that stuff. You know what I care about? I care about being at my son's basketball game. I care about showing up for my best friend at her event that she's speaking at. I care about making sure that I call this client at 3:30 because they were having a mental breakdown yesterday, and I want to make sure that they're good. When you schedule things on there, you free yourself of obligations that have nothing to do with you. How many times someone's like, hey, let's go for lunch tomorrow, and you're like, yeah, let's go. Tomorrow comes and you're like, oh man, I can't go. Yeah, well, if you would have had it on your schedule, you would have known that you couldn't go, and you wouldn't have made that commitment. So one thing productivity does is it saves us from ourselves. And I don't know how many times it saved me from myself, because I'm a person that I love to show up for everybody. I'm a person that I don't care where it's at. I'm going to be there. I'm going to do it, which is why I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning, went and got my face beat, got in the car, drove here for 3 hours. I'm going to finish speaking, get off stage, and then drive right back home because I got to be at home with the boys to tuck them into bed and do homework. So it's essentially allowed me to live life on the terms that I want to live life. It's allowed me to teach other people how to live life on their terms. So just a quick question, anybody. What is the biggest struggle you feel when you're trying to create your schedule or create your time blocks or whatever? Like, if anyone does do that, what is your biggest issue with productivity? Is it actually showing up? Is it the discipline aspect? Is it the fact that you don't have enough time to actually sit down and plan? Like, what do you think it is? Anybody can answer. Wait, you said there's something from a year from now that can be started today?
So there's something that can be done a year from now that could be started today. So it's always like something.
Ooh,
my mind
you're
is
a future
always,
thinker. Okay.
Moving.
And see, that's great, and I love that you're thinking so far ahead. But unfortunately, that's not conducive to the situation. So one thing is delegation of prioritization. A lot of us get caught up in thinking we got to do this now for something that's going to happen, but yet all these things that we have to do now are just not getting done. So I'm a very big person of priority. What am I not going to do? A lot of people be like, I start off with what I'm going to do. No. I'm going to tell my team everything I'm not doing, and then we're going to figure out who's getting what. So if you don't have a team, the way I always structure it out is when I do my brain dump, I take 2 different color highlighters, a pink and an orange. Pink represents what's not a priority. Orange is what I need to get done now. And if you're somebody that's like, well, I don't really know priority, put a price tag next to it. If I know that this task is gonna get me $10,000 if I complete it, guess what's a priority? That $10,000 task. And I'm the type of person that I'm very big on, I get an idea and I'm like, okay, I need to get an LLC, I need to create the Instagram, I need to get the website, I need to do this, and I'm like, no. We give ourselves anxiety because we think we need to start working on things that are not even currently happening without finishing what's going on first. So the biggest thing with that is just prioritization. How do you know what is a priority in your business? Do you actually have everything functionally written down? Do you actually have a business plan? Do you have a marketing structure? Do you have all of those key segments so that you have foundation? Because what happens when you build the sandcastle too close to the ocean and there's not a moat and there's not any protection? When the tide gets high, you don't got a sandcastle no more. And that's what happens with our businesses. The tide gets high. We get too many clients. We have too much month and not enough money. Our money is tied up in investments and we don't have enough time to figure out how to untie those investments. So what you're essentially doing to yourself is you're putting yourself in a position to where now you're in urgency. This has to get done right now. That has to get done tomorrow. No. What we need to do is calm down. And now I'm not saying stop everything in its entirety right in that moment. You got to start microdosing it. Because what's going to happen is you're going to stop your process, and it's better to start taking smaller things away and seeing what works than stopping everything at one point and trying to start all over again. You've gotten to as far as you've gotten to for a reason. Something worked. Something did work, but it's not as effective as it could have been. So one thing I want you guys to do is if you see that something may not be working, don't try to essentially stop it right in its path. Don't do that. I want you to take heed of what's going on. Okay, well, my habits may not be the best because I'm not disciplined enough. Or my schedule might not be the best because I'm not taking the time to actually sit down and implement things. Or this is not happening because that's not happening. So when you have notes, when you take heed of everything, all your projects, you have to always look at the priority of it. Now, Michelle, okay, priority, whatever, but it has to get done. Yes, but guess what? You're in control. You are. Nobody gets to tell you where your energy goes, where your focus goes. Because once again, where your focus goes, your money grows. So when you commit to productivity, you're committing to saying, you know what? My business is important. This is important. And that's all that matters. You're going to get a lot more done when you're focused on one project at a time than focusing on 10 projects at a time. And I know that you like to think about the future, and we all do, but we got to live in the moment right now. We got to see what's working for right now to then implement things that are going to make it better for the future. So does anybody have any questions or anything like that? Okay, so the way I manage with my boys is I build my schedule around my personal life. I don't build my business. I build my business around my personal schedule, not my business around my personal life. So my kids are my priority. Nothing comes before them. Now, in essence, it's like, okay, well, that sounds great, but I'm working. I have to do this. I have to do that. That's where sacrifice comes in. A lot of times we hear the word sacrifice and it makes us really nervous, but you have to sacrifice to gain. There's seasons where I'm 100% locked in with the boys. I'm 100% there. I'm all in. But then there's some seasons where I might be there 75%. And I have a tribe and I have a lot of assistance and help, and we have a community. So there's going to be, you have to kind of like, you got to kind of like pivot. You got to kind of go with it. And there's not an exact mathematical equation I can get for you to break it down. You have to see what's a priority and what's a necessity. The kids right now, they just started school. That's a priority for me. It's a priority for me to be there to put them to bed, to do their homework with them. So when I'm doing my group coaching program, I know that, you know what? Thursday, I may not be able to put them to bed, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, I can. And we make that sacrifice. And that's just how I've been going with it. And now I have to say that I do have a really strong community that helps me raise my boys and everything like that. But it's also that balance. I put everything on the schedule. If I know that at 7 o'clock they need book time read, I don't care what I'm doing. It's on my schedule. It gets done. And that's the biggest thing for me is my discipline. So the way that I keep it going is just discipline. And if you don't have that structure, you got to start building it. And you start building it by knowing when to know. Some things you just have to say no to. Some things you just can't show up to. But when it comes to those kids, you got to be that person. So that's how, no, of course, that's how I do it. And it's not easy. I know I make it look easy, but it's not. It's not easy at all. And another thing with productivity is not only does it allow you to control your time, but the phrase I just said, you know when to know. When you're in alignment with what your business is, you know, if your goal this year was to get 50 new doors, you got to kind of reverse engineer that back. How am I going to get 50 new doors? How much money do I have to put up? How many clients do I have to attain? How many times? Like, you have to kind of see what that looks like and then build your schedule around it. Because if you build your schedule around what the results you're seeking, you're going to find them because you'll know when to know. If you know that you want to be in real estate, there's going to be no reason why you're going to be auditioning at SeaWorld to work with Shamu. It just doesn't make sense. It's not in alignment with what you want. But as far as time management and productivity, the way I feel it's changed my life the most is it's allowed me to find love again in business. How many times have we gotten so consumed in business and you're like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I here? And it's like you feel like you're drowning. And I got really, really tired of feeling like I was drowning because ultimately I've been a full-time entrepreneur and business owner for 5 years now. And, you know, I haven't always seen the results that I wanted, but it was because I wasn't in alignment with where I was supposed to be. Productivity allows you to be in full alignment of where you're supposed to be because it's on a schedule. If it's not on your schedule, there's no reason for it to get done. If it's not on a schedule, why are you having this 3-hour conversation with somebody? Why are you having a 3-hour conversation in general is beyond me, but it's just, it makes you really look at things in an intentional aspect. If this has nothing to do with my business, why am I doing it? If it's not gonna bring me a connection, bring me a resource, bring me a check, bring me a client, why am I doing it? And I ask myself that quite a bit when someone wants to work with me. Okay, well, if it's not like a client trying to come in and it's a collaboration, how is this a fair energy exchange? How is this gonna be beneficial to the both of us? How are we both gonna make money? Because sometimes people will see you and they'll be like, yeah, I wanna work with you. Of course you wanna work with me. Everybody wants to work with me. But then it's like, but why? What are you gonna offer? And that's a big thing with productivity. You have to know when to know. You have to know what's good for your business, what's bad for your business. And the only way you know that is if you have structure, if you have organization. Remember, success does love speed, but it loves systems, it loves process, and that's how you're going to allow yourself to grow more, to grow larger, to grow bigger. And once again, y'all need the analytics for your life. Start creating a schedule. Start mapping everything out. Start creating a to-do and a to-don't list. The things you don't want to do are just as important as the things that you do want to do, because it's what's going to get done. You are in ultimate control of your time. You are the one that grants people access to you. Cut the access off. Stop letting people have such free time with you. Oh, I need to get on a call with you. Okay, get on my schedule. Oh, I want to have dinner with you. Okay, you got to get on my schedule. And people are going to start to be like, well, oh, you need a schedule? I got to schedule you in. Yes, you do. You have to schedule me in. You can get it off my link tree. Like, it's very, very, very simple. And once you start setting that precedence for yourself, once you start setting those boundaries, you know, the B word that everybody hates, you start to do better business because you're doing business and things that you want to do. You're not being forced to do anything. How many times have we signed up for something and we're like, oh my God, why did I do this? We've all been there before. But you're only there because you gotta stop being a yes man. Productivity will give you the money that you want if you actually utilize it. If you step into that power every day. It's not something that is like, okay, I'm gonna create my schedule this week and now I'm productively producing. No. It takes 21 days to build a habit. It takes 23 minutes for you to get your focus back after you decided that you want to go scrolling, you want to pick up your calls, you want to check your email. Like, I check my email twice a day. I know for real estate professionals that's a little bit different, but sometimes I'm like with clients and they're always checking their emails. I'm like, what are you looking for? Did you send out like a marketing email? Did you send is someone sending you some money? Like, what's going on? Because the time that you're taking to just sit there and go through your email, scroll on Instagram, you've just wasted 2 to 3 hours of your life. And now what? So you want to know how you guys can add 2 hours back to your life? Start putting your phone on D&D when you're working. Start putting it on airplane mode. The thing is, you're like, I don't need to do that. Yes, you do. You don't know how to focus. Because if you essentially are not making the money you want, the relationships you want, the impact you want, it's because of the things that you're doing. It's the routines that you have or lack thereof. I'm telling you, start to utilize your phone for what it needs to be used for. Set the little focus bars. I have a bar that's focused and it silences all my notifications, all my emails, and I sit and I work for 90 minutes in 25-minute increments and I get so much work done. Because imagine what 90 minutes of uninterrupted time feels like. It's euphoric. You get so much stuff done. And then you are able to move forward. You're able to do what you need to do. And then you can allow all the distractions to come. At some point in time, you have to put your foot down in all your industry. With your clients, you have to have boundaries. Why is anybody calling you after 7 o'clock at night? Why is anybody calling you at 6 o'clock in the morning? It's ridiculous. Why are you allowing people to message you and put you in a space where you feel anxiety and stressed out? Everything should have a system. Everything should have a process. Everything should have order. And if it doesn't, this is your time to sit down and look at your systems, your process, and your order and see how it can work. Once again, these things are so important because come next week, how are you supposed to see the week that you had? How are you supposed to check your analytics? How are you supposed to see, what tasks did I get done today that don't need to come over to tomorrow? Or what tasks do I need to get done now? But you know what? I'm not going to have this, and this done, so I'm going to have to take it over to next month. That's how you're able to gauge projects. That's how you're able to gauge your time in its entirety. So take control of your time. Stop letting people push you over. It's no. Do you want to be there? No. Do I want to go to lunch with you? No. Do I want to take this call? No, I don't. Do you want a consultation? Sure. I'll send you that link real quick. You want to go to a lunch? No. People are so quick to waste your time. And you get excited because you're like, oh, this is elite. Yeah, but is the time worth the money? Are you going to make the money back? Is it going to make sense? If it doesn't make sense, you're not going to do it. I don't do it. I don't care. And I don't feel bad about it either. Was there a question? Did you have a question? So when I'm dealing with my consulting side of things, I deal with Dubsado. I have everything organized through Dubsado. So when someone signs up, it automatically triggers email after email. I have it linked up with Asana. So when my clients need to go in and they need to check their boards and stuff, everything is already in there. And then I also utilize Trello as well. On the cleaning industry side, there's a program that we specifically use. I think it's like Ready-Made or something like that, but it allows us to see what clients we're using, what things we're tracking, revenue tracking, and everything like that. And then the regular social media later, we also use Notes or Polony, one of those things. But I'm very big with Dubsado and Asana. That works really, really well for me. We link it up with Calendly, and then everything just kind of flows smooth. And I got to give a shout out to my team because my executive assistant keeps everything going. So you can't scale without a team. I don't care how many people think you can do it by yourself. You need VAs, you need a team, you need strategy, you need structure. I've did it a really long time without a team, and guess what happened? Burnt to the ground, done. And unfortunately, it set me back more. So there's a lot of maturity and understanding that you need to slow down and create these systems. There's a lot of maturity in saying, you know what, this isn't working, so I'm gonna try something else. And once again, I do not encourage anyone to ever tear everything down because I'm deleting everything and I'm starting all over. No. Find where in your process it's not linking and then see what you can do to change it. Don't stop the entire process because we don't got time to tear everything down and build it back up again. Rome was not built in a day. It's actually kind of still broken right now and they still be trying to fix it. So we got to make sure that we're still fixing it. And you guys have to also give yourself grace. If you decide to leave here today and say, you know what, Michelle, I'm committed to creating healthy habits and healthy routines for myself, for my business, for my kids, for my partner. We want to do better so that we can have more time together. It's not going to work the first time around. There's going to be something that happens. Life always happens. The thing is, when you have habits and routines in a schedule, when life happens, you're able to see where you can pick right back up from. You have a point. So let's say, for example, you schedule something from 9:30 to 10, but you got to go pick your kid up from school because he's throwing up everywhere. All right, you get the baby back, you get them where they need to be, whatever. Now you know at what point in your schedule you need to go see, okay, do those tasks need to be taken care of right now or can I roll them over to tomorrow? Is that a priority right now? And the way you know if it's a priority is you've already set the tone. Is this a priority? Is this not a priority? Can I send it to my admin? Can I take care of it next week? Whatever the case may be. You just got to be intentional about what matters to you in your business. And once you're more intentional about that, it's going to be a lot easier to be more productive. Because guess what? If you can master your minutes, you can master millions. And that's on God. Seriously. That is on Jesus himself.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Michelle.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
Please go check her out. She's amazing.